Greetings, blessings, and salutation to everyone locked into the building. I hope everyone's having a fine and wonderful morning or afternoon now, depending on where you are, or night, wherever you are around the world. Guys, before we get going, do me a favor if you can, drop a like on the video. Even if you don't like it, drop a thumbs down, man. But one thing I need you guys to do is drop your thoughts in the comment down below in the conversation we're about to have. It's not going to be a long one. It's going to be a quick one. Darwin Nunez. I'm sure you guys can see the title. Darwin Nunez, I think his time's up at Liverpool. I'm a big, I'd say advocate for just players in general, man. I don't like when we diss the players without really kind of finding the reasons on why we don't like the players in the football club. So I always try to have a balanced out view on all the players and make sure I try and keep it fair and balanced across the board. So if you're going to blame one, you have to blame the other. If you're going to praise one, you got to praise the other. That's something I've always kind of stood by, in terms of my analysis of the game, analysis of the team that I support, which is Liverpool Football Club. And I feel like that's now kind of gone out the window slightly. Um, and yeah, it's kind of tough because I sit there and I watch and I try and have these conversations with multiple people, and there's only a couple of people that I can really have a footballing conversation with. There is a saying that there is a lot of opinions out there. It doesn't mean that your opinions are always right, and your opinions are factual things you can use. So I always try and keep a fine balance in my analysis of each game. So Darwin Nunez. So I'm not gonna. This is not a blame. It's not a not good enough kind of standpoint. It's more this isn't a team for him currently. I feel like if he goes somewhere else, he will probably be able to do what he needs to do as a striker, or maybe go back to the way he used to play when he was at Benfica. But for us currently, we do not play a system that suits a striker, and that's not to not say he's not missed opportunity, because he has. He's missed far too many opportunities for Liverpool Football Club, but he has scored some goals as well. And I feel like, when he has done well, we don't praise him enough. And when he has done bad, we go completely to the left, where we just literally just pile on. Watching a game yesterday and going, okay, had a missed chance. Most strikers do that anyway. But because he has that kind of tag attached to him, he's not a striker that can miss chances. He has to score everything. He has to make sure everything's on target. Looking at the chances he had yesterday, should he have scored maybe one? Yeah, I'd say one. Maybe the one that dropped to him in the box. But he's been around a few defenders. Maybe shift it back onto the right foot and then get a shot away. I don't know, but all that body's around you, trying to make sure you get the finish. The one that gets flashed across and stretching for it, it's a difficult one. But there's always an expectation, because I've seen this still that's been going around, and that's fine. Everyone can have their own opinions on it, until you've been in the situation. I think that's where, then you can go, do you know what? I've been in that situation. I've scored it. I've been in that situation. I've missed it. So I can understand the reasons why. It's not excuses, but you can try and give understanding. But we lost the game because of Kelleher's last minute mistake yesterday. That's the reason why we lost the game. And drew the game. But I guess why, whenever you don't have the result you should have, you start going back and you start nitpicking on what areas we should have done better. The whole team as a whole wasn't good in that first half. None of the attackers was there. The midfield was non-existent. In that game, defense was kind of all over the place. As a unit. I'm not going to pull out individuals. I think just as a unit, the team wasn't aggressive, strong enough. There wasn't enough fight from the boys yesterday. Maybe a bit of fatigue. Maybe a bit of a calm down, speaking to Cav Zubiri and Savage. Maybe a bit of calm down from the Man City Real Madrid week, where we had to put everything in to try and solidify those kind of 2 wins that we had. And to keep 2 clean sheets there as well was massive for us. But yeah, for Darwin Nunez, I think maybe his time is up at Liverpool Football Club, and he doesn't suit what we want to do. When we signed him on the clock, we attempted to play the same style where we were trying to play for a striker. The problem was where we wasn't getting the results. We just went back to type and was like, no, we need someone just to kind of be a hold-up player. Link the players and just let the wingers be the ones that kind of go and score the goals. And if you can chip in and add, then you can. We started off and he was getting chances, he was missing, he was scoring goals, but he wasn't at his best. And then we just completely changed it because we was like, well, we can't wait to do that. And I think that's the mistake we kind of made, Klopp kind of made in terms of we just reverted back to type. And the type was, let's go back to, make sure the middleman is just a facilitator and the wingers are the ones that score the goals. I've fast forward now under to Arne Slot. I'm watching the team and we're pretty much doing the exact same thing now. We need someone in the middle, and that's why it looks a bit more fluid when Lucho is in there, or sometimes when Jota, when he's on his game, he's in there. Because they can facilitate the wide areas, and they can we can move around and find little pockets. Darwin isn't that type of player. So until we utilize his skill sets, like even now, I think his first season we was crossing the ball in the box, and he was scoring headers and stuff like that. We're not doing that anymore. We used to clip the ball into him, when he makes those runs off the shoulders. We don't do that anymore. And that's partly you can look at it two ways. But some sections of fans say maybe the team don't trust him. Some would be like, we're not utilizing it. But I don't think that's going to change. And I don't think, I'm trying to look and go, what does Arne Slot is looking for him? Because he had a striker at Feyenoord, and that's what he was using him as. He was using him as an actual striker. The wingers was getting the ball into the box, and then we was getting finishes, and was cutting it back to him, and the build up play was kind of around that final third where we'll get the ball into the box for the strikers to finish. But because he's come to a team and inherited a squad where we've got a player like Mo Salah that is, is a goal magnet. He wants to be the one that scores the goals and obviously gets the accolades and the assists. So now you have to slightly tweak and change it. So then Darwin ain't going to get that same, he's not going to get that same level. The team isn't going to be kind of facilitated around him because maybe there's not trust in there, not good enough in there. There's certain titles we can throw in there. I don't think he's going to make it now. I said openly I'd give him to the end of this season to see what he can do. I know we're only 3 months into the Arne Slot new reign. Yeah, even then, I'm just like, I don't see us going away from what we do as a team, where we don't really play for a forward, an actual centre forward. We don't play for a striker. The team is more. It's a more everyone can kind of chip in with the goals. We're not looking at solely one to get all the goals, but it just so happens to, like, Mo gets them. Obviously, he takes the penalties as well. Most of the chances the teammates will find him in the box and he'll put the chances away. Obviously, he does miss himself as well, but he doesn't miss at the rate as kind of the other guys. So the team is built around everyone kind of chipping in and getting goals. So yeah, I think for me, I think that this unless the team changes, or unless, say Mo Salah doesn't stay at Liverpool, or maybe we get like a winger, and then we try and play for the middle player. I don't think even Jota, I think, will suffer as well. And I know that the conversation is, yeah, let's go and get, Gyökeres, and let's go and get an Isak and all these type of players. That our team isn't built around a centre forward. Unless we change that, even if we go and get these guys, they're still going to get similar numbers because there will always be a guy in the team that will get the high numbers, and then the rest of you guys can kind of just chip in with it. Hopefully that kind of makes sense, because I know a lot of people just sometimes you think with your emotions, and then we just don't think about it kind of logically as well. And I'm trying to think about it from an illogical standpoint, where I'm looking at our team and I go, it's not like the days when we played with a Suarez. It's not like the days where we played with Fernando Torres. Those were the days you could see the team played for, Michael Owen, Robbie Fowler's, Ian Wright. Even though we had top players in there, we facilitated our team around just making sure we created the opportunities for the striker. In this team now, we have got a inside forward, where that's where we facilitate. The team is facilitated around creating those opportunities for Mo Salah. And it doesn't mean the other guys don't get the opportunities. So I hope you guys listen without thinking about with the emotional side of your brain. Just stop for a second, think about it. Do we play for a centre forward? If we go and get to centre forward, does that mean that centre forward guarantees 20 plus goals? Or do you look at him and go, he's probably just going to come in and get similar numbers, maybe a couple of more, with the odd chances where you go, yeah, Nunez has missed that, so he will probably put that away, and then you might end up, instead of 11 Premier League goals, you might end up with 15. The problem is that's only 4 extra goals. Does that equate to winning a game of football? It could just be you just scored the extra in the 3-1. You've scored one of the goals in that 3-1. You know what I mean? We win 5-0. You score one of those goals in the 5-0. So until I think we adjust the team and play for an actual centre forward, I don't think any striker we buy or any forward we buy is going to come in and bag these type of goals we need. We've always been a team where the wide men are the ones that get all the chances because we create overloads and situations where those players will get in and get those opportunities. And that's why you've had season where Mane and Salah just reigns, especially, Cav made a great point. Me and him had a phone conversation yesterday. And it was like, that's why in the title winning season, you had Mane on one side and Salah on one side, and they both had equal amount of goals, all close to. And then Bobby was always the one in the middle that kind of go, yeah, I'll hold the ball up and I'll do all the running and I'll do all the pressing and I'll drop in and help defensively. But then you guys just make sure you go and finish those opportunities off. And they did. And they did for a number of years. But we've not been a team where we've gone away from that yet in terms of let's get someone up there that we truly want to build and put the team around. And I don't think that will happen yet until maybe, unless we change our style slightly or tweak it slightly, not from a playing standpoint in terms of how we want to build up, how we want to get in the final third, but just ideas in terms of like, where do we want our forward to be? Do we want him in the box to create? Do we want him on the shoulders to make these little runs in behind? Or do we just want him to be the guy that just sets it back and then we can play the wingers in? Because as soon as we do that, you're not going to get on the end of even 60% of the chances I see the wide men end up getting. And that's going to be an issue, going forward until we do so. And maybe that changes once, say a Salah, once he leaves Liverpool. Obviously, I want him to stay at the club. But if he leaves, then I think maybe then we might change it slightly. We'll go and get a winger that could probably facilitate certain things. And, what I mean? He's not necessarily that kind of bags man as such. To have one player in the team that scored 75 or 70-something% of your goals, that's not good. And I remember saying this about Haaland in a conversation. I'm like, that's why Man City struggled. They started struggling because only one person in the team was scoring. Is it his fault? No, but with Haaland, the team facilitates around him, and then the other guys stop trying to score because they're always trying to set him up and trying to get him on goal and stuff like that. And then when they got rid of like Riyad Mahrez and Sterling, the guys that actually was contributing, Alvarez, when they were contributing, they would come on and score, and they might end up with 10, 17, 12, whatever. There was other people like taking the burden and taking away. At the moment, because we were trying to facilitate the team around one man, that's where you're going to get all your goals from. And then once you get all the goals from there, if they have an off game, which you did in the first half, then you're praying and hoping for a better second half. But then the other guys ain't going to do much, or they're not going to chip in as much because they've spent too much of the game trying to do that instead of taking a burden on your shoulders. Get shots away yourself. Take the game by the scruff of the neck yourself. And go, yeah, I trust that he's going to do that, but I need to make sure I pull my weight as well in the team. And Darwin's weight in the team currently looks like maybe just someone that runs around and tackles and whatever, and he's not getting the goals for that. And if he doesn't come back and press, then he loses a bit of his edge. But then if he comes back and press when we have a counter-attack, he's never in the box for the opportunity when we need him to be. So I feel like, yeah, it's time's kind of done now at Liverpool, unless we change. You can go somewhere else and go and do maybe better, but yeah, we're not gonna get anything out of you by the way you're currently playing within this team. And we can go out there, and I think we need to go out there and probably get I don't even know what type of striker we might need to go and get, but if we go out there and get a striker, in my personal opinion, I don't think it's gonna work. I think we have to go out there and get someone that is a creative style forward like a Bobby Firmino. And that's probably why we're looking at maybe like, Mamouche, because he isn't a striker. He's a player that can play across the front three. So he can, he will probably do what Lucho has been doing when Lucho plays through the middle. He's not playing up against anyone. He's dropping in and taking a touch, and he's dribbling past players and playing those lovely 1-2s. And then he's getting into the box, for whatever the finish is. But because he's not a striker, he's always going to be playing in between, like a 10, technically. It's like you're playing with a 10, but he's the striker. Darwin doesn't have the ability to do any of those things. He can hold the ball up and pop it round the corner, and he can flick the ball on. But his strengths are getting in behind, getting crosses into the box. Those are his strengths, and we kind of gone away from that. So until we play for a said type striker, we're not gonna you're not gonna get anything out of him. And has he got worse at Liverpool? Yes, he has. He's definitely got worse. He hasn't gotten better. I think his hold up play, got slightly better, but that's because that wasn't something he was good at, or not even good at, something he wasn't being utilized or asked to do when he was at Benfica. So for me, I think we didn't make him any better. We spent the money on him and didn't actually improve him as a player. We didn't utilize his strengths, and when we did, he was scoring all types of goals, left foot, right foot headers, and now we've reverted to, yeah, you're just getting the odd chances, a couple of odd chances here or there, and the expectation is to finish it. And for a striker, and I don't know if there's anyone that's listening that plays as a striker, when you're getting these odd chances, yes, the reliance on you is to kind of try and take these opportunities because we might not get any more. But as a striker, you feed off of chances. You need chance. You need rhythm. You need a certain pattern of play to kind of get you in the game and get you going and getting used to certain scenarios from post, near post, far post. Running into the middle. All right, when I drop off here, he's going to set it back in, and I can try and whip it into the goal. Or as soon as he gets it there, I'm going to run to the near post. I know he's going to put that across first time, and then I can nick it around the goalkeeper. And you're not seeing that from him because I don't know if that's even being asked of him. I don't see the games on a consistent basis going. That's what's being asked of him. So yeah, I think your time is done, and I will support him until he doesn't have a red shirt on. But for me, yeah, I think summer they will look to probably move him on. I think it's time for him to go as well. And then I think we need to go and get a Bobby type Firmino type player in that position. And if that looks like a Mamouche to me, so probably that's him. Maybe they're going to utilize Lucho a bit more in there, and with Jota with his injury things as well. Is he the one as well? Because he's not setting the world alight this season as well. So we've got forwards in the team that are they. Would you class it as misfiring? Would you class it as we're not playing for them? Would you just class it as, oh, if we had a better striker there, that means that they will get more chances? I would have to wait and see, man. I think those are so unanswered questions at the moment because we look around the league, we look at Newcastle we played yesterday, and you go, you could see that they were trying to give Isak the ball every opportunity they got into those areas, in areas for him to get shots on goal. You could see it. You could see that they play for him. You can see when you watch, Villa, they try and get Ollie Watkins in as much as you can, even when he's been on a drought. They try and get him in. You can see for City, Arsenal are anomaly. They don't really, because they don't have a striker. They're similar to us. Everyone can kind of chip in, but they have got Saka. He's the main goal assist contributor in the team, similar to us with Salah. And then you look around with Man United, they're still finding a way, but I'm pretty sure they'll find a solution where they're gonna try and get the striker more on it. Brighton, another example that they've got Welbeck in there as well, that they try and facilitate and give chances to. And then I'm looking around. You've got Cunha at Wolves. They try and make sure he gets in. Obviously, he's a player that can play in different positions. A good footballer as well. But you can see that every team you kind of watch and go, you can see that they try and find their striker. But because we've got such a rounded kind of 5, or is it 6 forward men or front men, and they all have different skill sets, we don't have like an out and out where we go, do you know what, we need to play for the out and out striker because Gakpo can score a goal, Nunez can score a goal, Salah can score a goal, and Jota can score a goal, Nunez can score a goal, and Chiesa now and then he can score a goal. So there's not a forward man where they go Jota and Nunez, we must just give it to him because everyone in that front line can. And I'm not saying the other teams doesn't have players on their wide areas that can score goals, but you can see their style is to make sure they're trying to get that front man in, because if you're going to play up front, bro, you need chances, bro, and you need rhythm. And if you don't get rhythm, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna snatch at chances because you feel like maybe I'm not going to get another one and stuff like that. But as I said, it's not an excuse. No excuses. I think it's time for him to go. We don't play. Our system does not play for a striker. And maybe I'm proven wrong in the summer, and we do go and get a Gyökeres or an Isak or whoever they go and get to play up there, and then it's slightly different. But Mamouche to me isn't a striker. He's a creative wide man, but he can play through the middle, similar to like a Diaz style player. So if we get a style of player like that, they will chip in with goals and stuff like that. But it's never, if we go and get an out and out forward, I don't see how they score a hell of a lot more goals, finish on higher number than Salah, or finish up there in the goal scoring thing when you have a guy that is going to get those numbers already in the team and the teams play for them. Listen, I'd love to know you guys' thoughts. Leave your comments in the comment section down below. Yeah, man, I'll chop it up with you guys, man. You guys already know what time it is, man. Go and enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll speak soon. Peace.